The City Council Public Comment Meeting. Before Mayor Parker calls the meeting to order, we ask that you please silence all electronic devices. For those of you who are requested to speak, there are 2 podiums in the chamber. The podium in the back is for individuals with mobility concerns. We ask all others to step forward to the front podium. Each podium has a countdown clock located to the speaker's right that will indicate how much time is remaining. When you have 30 seconds left, a bell will sound, and when your time has ended, the bell will sound a second time indicating to wrap up your comments. Before you begin your comments, please state your name. Thank you.
And welcome to the Forest City Council public comment session. I'll call us to order and turn it back over to Jeanette.
Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Patrick Winfield of the Potter's House, Fort Worth. Please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the pledges of allegiance.
Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Father, we love you and we thank you so much. We invoke your presence into these proceedings. We ask for the spirit of counsel and wisdom, the spirit of understanding, Father, discernment. We pray, Father, that all things that are spoken about, Father, would be heard. And we ask and pray that this level of hearing, Father, will cause for the heart to be comforted. I pray, Father, that things that need to be changed will change. Things that need to shift will shift. And that you would be the author and the finisher of all things. It's in the name of Jesus that we ask. We lift up our mayor, the whole council. We lift up all of the leaders that are here, our chief and police and all of the police officers that are here, and everyone standing in some position, Father, in the community, in the government, in this city. Bless us all. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Mayor and Council, our first business items are the approval of the minutes from the January 30th and February 6th council meetings.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, council. Any discussion? Please vote. I think Charlie's absent. Motion carries.
Mayor, that concludes the action items for tonight. The rest are public comment speakers.
Thank you, Jeanette. Our first speaker this evening will be Bob Willoughby, followed by Cindy Bowling.
They don't want me to get to that thing at all. They got you right in front of it. And I sent you an email, Leanne, to tell me what the reason why my video wasn't played tonight. Could you copy and paste the rules? I couldn't understand why my video wasn't played tonight. So let's do this. I'm always prepared for 2 or 3 things with y'all nowadays. I'll start off with the Drawing Heights Neighborhood Association. Okay? I've gone through everything what it says in black and white on paper. We draw the map. We got the 51%. We had a bigger map. You can't tell what this is, but on top, the red sign is the John T. White Neighborhood Association, and the one underneath it, on the next one down, is the Drawing Heights. When we put it on there, they took down the whole pole, city and all. And John T. White probably got their sign back, and they probably threw mine in the garbage, but those are city. See the cow horns on top? So anyway, this is how hard it is to try to get a neighborhood association here. If it's a real one, a legitimate one, not one owned by the city, not one that turns a blind eye to what the city does. Mayor, I'm sorry, I should be addressing Maddie. If I actually addressed him, it's not on purpose. It's just out of habit, okay? But anyway, I draw the map, it's all signed and everything, all done. But Michelle Goop doesn't want to give it to me. She says, no, you decide the 4 houses, you have to get 100%. Not 51% will work with you. You have to have 100%. So she says some of the people that John T. want, they want to stay in their neighborhood association. They don't want to opt out. They don't want to be in ours. So my question was to Michelle Goop was, I sent her an email. I said, Michelle Goop, did you tell these people to contact us if they want out, that it's not your decision to make? She hadn't answered yet. I'd like to know, why wouldn't she tell them that? We're the Drawn Heights Neighborhood Association. If they don't want to be in it, maybe they ought to contact us, because by the rules, we have that. But if they don't want to be in, they contact us. Maybe we might redraw the map. Maybe they might find out they want to get out of the John T. White, because 3 of these houses were bullied. We had them on the petition first, and one was threatened that they couldn't get work done from the city if they didn't stay with the John T. White. And this proves it here, because I can't get the map drawn. So that shows how crooked the John T. White Neighborhood Association is. They have power to break the rules. It's owned by Gina Bibbins. Councilmember Bibbins controls that neighborhood association 100%. And they're not a neighborhood association, they're a cityhood. So anyway, they bullied people out, threatened them, and scared 3 out before they couldn't get out. But anyway, we draw the map. I want Michelle Goode to answer that question, and we want to get what comes to us. I didn't mention it to Ray, the supervisor. He said on tape that we met our dues, we should have it. You think you might do that? I would appreciate it very much. It'd be the first thing you ever done for me. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Cindy Bowling, followed by Judy Taylor.
Thank you. I'm Cindy Bowling. I live in East Fort Worth, District 11. And I am here to say thank you to Visit Fort Worth. It was last spring when Visit Fort Worth's contract came up for renewal. And I and my fellow advocates, Judy Taylor and Torchy White, spoke in opposition to the contract because East Fort Worth wasn't represented at all. And looking at their map, as you see on the screen, apparently Fort Worth stopped west of 35. But advancing forward to slide 2. Slide 2. I'll keep talking since I'm on the clock. That evening in April led to a wonderful team coming together when Bob Jameson immediately asked us to meet with the Visit Fort Worth group to remedy this oversight. We started meeting in early May, and together we created an amazing representation of East Fort Worth. You see part of it if you go to slide 3. East Fort Worth was not only put on the map, but if you click on the East Fort Worth box, all kinds of East Fort Worth places pop up if you go to slide 4. It's just wonderful. And now slide 5. It was as soon as July of last year that the team met at Meadowbrook Library to memorialize our collaborative creation. I had so much fun working on this project, and it's one of the most rewarding contributions I have participated in for East Fort Worth and our city of Fort Worth. It's been wonderful, and best of all we had to do was ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Our next speaker is Judy Taylor, followed by Torchy White.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Judy Taylor. I live in Hanley, part of East Fort Worth. Having been a part of Fort Worth for over 80 years, one of my greatest adventures was the day that we became a part of working with Visit Fort Worth to recognize things that need to be known by visitors to the city of Fort Worth. Until recently, there was no recognition of there being anything part of Fort Worth east of I-35. Because the openness and the willingness of Visit Fort Worth's organization, the work with members of the communities of Central Meadowbrook, Hanley, and historic Carver Heights, east of 35, there is now a presence of features such as Gateway Park, Trinity Trails, Tandy Hills Nature Center, Historic Hanley, and our great wedding district that is nationally known, and Texas Westland. Thank you for recognizing East Fort Worth. We appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Next speaker is Torchy White.
Good evening. My name is Torchy White, and I reside in District 5 in historic Carver Heights. We would like to share our East Side journey with Visit Fort Worth, a journey resulting in a praiseworthy outcome. As you remember, our original question to the representatives of Visit Fort Worth last April was, if we on the East Side don't exist on the Fort Worth tourism map, then why should East Siders pay taxes? And why should our tax dollars support a $16 million effort that leaves us unrepresented? Since we are used to being ignored like redheaded stepchildren, we were amazingly surprised. Visit Fort Worth bravely reached out to address this East Side concern. We have often been told that the only time we fall or we fail is when we stop trying. Well, Cindy, Judy, and I are here to announce that both teams persevered. Not just once, but several times during a long, hot summer. And we all won. We all won for the East Side, for the East Side residents, for the East Side business community, the whole of Greater Fort Worth and Tarrant County. We are here to thank the Visit Fort Worth team of Bob Jameson, Tom Matheson, and especially Mitch Whitten, who embraced our historic histories and courageously endured the weekly pushbacks to help bring forth this all-encompassing tourism map. This has been a remarkable historic journey, and this map gives proof that here on the East Side, we do exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Torchy. And Mitch Whitten, thank you for coming tonight, and great work for you and your team. Next speaker is George Childs, followed by James Smith.
My name is George Vernon Childs, and I live in Fort Worth. On September 26, 2023, the mayor chose to make the following statement in video 1 hour, 14 minutes, 48 seconds. Quote, "Let me just say for the record, since Adrian's probably listening, the reason he was trespassed and calling in by phone is because he thought it was appropriate to curse at and scare the you-know-what out of our university Little League team that was here about 11 and 12 years old," unquote. On October 31st, 2023, at video 51 minutes, 10 seconds, the mayor chose to expand that record in 2 ways. Quote, "The only reason our speakers are by phone is that they decided that it would be appropriate to curse at a 12-year-old Little League team," unquote. Copies of the reasons given to the 2 banned people are now before you, written and signed by 2 department heads. Neither contains the word children or any variation thereof. Not for the first time, I turned to the novel 1984, quote, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." I believe that the mayor made full use of that unpleasant truth about using untruth in order to substitute the written reasons for banning with statements that are unwritten, unsworn, undocumented, and could not be answered at the meeting where they were made. The desire to protect children is as primal gets. If the children do not survive to adulthood, the tribe does not survive. It is that simple. As a highly poisonous vein of human history readily shows, that makes it a very useful instrument for othering. In support of this view, I suggest a section of the Holocaust Encyclopedia mentioning the deadly myth of blood libel, which was based on the lie of children being butchered in ritual sacrifices that never took place. This began in England in 1144, then proceeded eastward, destroying entire communities until it reached Russia, and was one of the main reasons for the use of the word pogrom, all in the name of protecting children from non-existent threats. This madness was fundamental to the Nazi takeover of Germany and survived to cause a pogrom in Poland in 1946, within my lifetime. Beginning on August 12, 1988, and ending 2,489 days later, the McMartin preschool case showed that the results of unsupported allegations concerning children need not rise to the level of lynch mob actions to incite a lynch mob mentality. So I asked the mayor, which record am I to believe, hers or the ones that await your consideration?
Our next speaker is James Smith, followed by Jerome Carlos Johnson.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is James Smith. I live in District 8. I'm kind of surprised that I'm called this early, but I signed up yesterday because I thought yesterday was Tuesday, but I digress. This is going on my 5th year standing here, speaking to you guys. I was told the last time that I came here that the wheels of justice move slow. Well, for the record, the wheels of justice move slow depending on who you are and how much money you have. That's just for the record. I attended the oral arguments of Aaron Dean for his appeal. And in that oral argument, the trial was delayed several times based on comments made by several dignitaries of the city. That being said, even though those arguments didn't win him an appeal, in fact, it was denied, you probably know that, we move the wheel a little bit more. I'd like to regain my life, and I can't do that until this incident is over for me. And I'm sure the family feels the same way. I know that you have a lot of work to do. It's a lot of you got to put into it. But the fact remains, my neighbor is gone. It's been proven that the cop was at fault. So I need the city to end this ordeal for me. The new ordeal I have is with a friend of mine. His name is Manuel Mata. I met Manuel Mata 3 years ago. And I'm not gonna say he's on a journey, but the journey that I'm on with him, I'm troubled by the way he's treated in the city. Manuel made a 180-degree turn toward the city of Fort Worth and the police department. But I see and I feel he's still being harassed. He's being, for elementary term, he's being picked on. He was arrested a few weeks ago for jaywalking with guns drawn on him. Now, who draws a gun on a jaywalker? Nothing Manuel has done, in my opinion, warrants him being arrested as many times he's been arrested. Just last week, Manuel was at a funeral, and he was mistaken for someone else that was wanted. And he was placed in handcuffs, he was put in a police car, and he had to beg for his freedom because he wasn't the person they were picking up. Anybody in Fort Worth knows who Manuel Mata is. So I'm upset with that particular incident because he wasn't who they were looking for, and I'm quite sure they knew he wasn't who they were looking for. Now, I've come down here for 5 years for Tatiana, and if I have to come down here for 5 years for Manuel or any other body else that's being mistreated in the city of Fort Worth, I will. Justice for Tatiana Jefferson and leniency for Manuel Mata because he's done nothing illegal. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Our next speaker is Jerome Johnson, followed by Yolanda Battle.
Good evening. My name is Jerome Johnson. I serve as the president of the Highland Hills Neighborhood Association. I reside in District 8. In 1964, one of my favorite civil rights activists, Fannie Lou Hamer, said the famous words, "We are sick and tired of being sick and tired." We, the members of the Highland Hills Neighborhood Association, echo those words that were spoken 60 years ago because we too are sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're sick and tired of being a community that is not seen or heard by the powers to be in this city. We're sick and tired of the Fort Worth way. Let me give you an example. The first week of the year, there was a collision on Oak Grove Road, which is our main thoroughfare. There was some wreckage left there in the form of a car, and it was left in front of the non-operational car wash that sits on Oak Grove Road at 1109 Oak Grove Road. Several community members reported the abandoned vehicle, yet it is still sitting there in that very same spot. I reached out to our MPO, and he advised me that it was a code issue because it's on private property. Code compliance came to our neighborhood association meeting at the beginning of this month and stated, well, part of the car is on the sidewalk, so that means it's public property and it's a police issue. I don't care whose issue it is, I want the car gone. So fortunately for me, God worked it out where I had a conversation with Chief Noakes tonight, and he's going to take care of it. But it shouldn't take having something like that, so simple, escalated to the chief of police to move a car. That's ridiculous. And in my heart, I do not believe that code nor the police would have taken so long if that car were located on Western Center Boulevard, Hewlin, Bryant Irvin, or any other street that's known for affluence. This is common in our city. Non-responsive city services, environmental pollution, food deserts, food swamps, that's all common in poor and working class communities. And it's nothing new because it's the Fort Worth way. However, let me reiterate, we serve notice tonight that we are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we will make sure that our voices are heard by any means necessary. We pray that the powers to be in this city would partner with us to make positive change in our community. And again, we vote and we have great memories. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, may I ask a question really quickly, if you don't mind? Thank you. I know that you've worked really closely with Tanisha in my office in the past, and she's been an excellent help. I've really enjoyed coming out to Highland Hills. I just want you to keep an open communication with my office. I know Councilmember Nettles as well. You're right, there's no excuse for that, and I'm glad you connected with Chief Noakes, but I will commit to you, I'll reach out. Tanisha's been ill the last few weeks, but someone else in my office, okay, good. She shouldn't be answering the phone right now. I hope she wasn't.
She called me.
I figured that's how she is, yeah. But we're still here for you, and I'm happy to come back out again and visit with you and your neighbors, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Yolanda Battle, followed by Martasha James.
Good evening, Council. I'm Yolanda Battle. I've been living in Highland Hills for 18 years now in District 8. I have a few concerns and issues that I would like for you to consider. I'm with Jerome about this car, but thank God Chief Noakes is going to take care of it. Our concern was the fingers were being pointed from code and police. So we did all that we were supposed to do, but the car is still sitting there. Now they're ripping it apart, it's being ripped apart, and so it's looking bad in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood, Oak Grove Road, sits right I-20 and I-35. So it's the main thoroughbreds, the main freeways. When you come in our neighborhood, it's not clean. We need some TLC. I love my neighborhood, but we need some attention. The corner, there's it's been many things, but it was a club at one point. Then we have a car wash that's been inoperable for years. We have a drive-through drug store, if you know what I mean, drug store. It's a drive-through window. We also have another little market. It's supposed to be our neighborhood store, but it's nothing in there for us to eat or buy or anything that I would want to send my kids in there for. So our neighborhood in the front end does not look good. It actually disgusts me. I live on the far end, so I take Campus Drive instead of going up Oak Grove because I'm so ashamed. I drive around Campus Drive to go home. I own and operate a transportation service, so I pick up people and bring them to our community center, specifically seniors, because we have a new senior program in Highland Hills. So just me bringing people, new guests and visitors in our community is embarrassing, very embarrassing. I would like for you to consider a police storefront in Highland Hills. We would benefit, as well as Fort Worth Police would benefit from a storefront in the lot where the Tashu Market is. There is loitering, gatherings taking place, drug sales, stabbings, shootings, attempted murders, and murders have happened here. So yes, that's a good location for a storefront. And Chief, I don't know if he's chief, but Outreach, officers, he was in agreement with that being a good location for a storefront, which is parallel to our main generational drug dealers. We have a street
Thank you, Ms.
called
Battle. I have to cut you off, but we'll follow up on the police storefront. I'll
Thank
be in
you. I
touch with
even-
you. Thank y'all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss James is up next, followed by Wesley Kirk. You can go ahead and start, Miss James. She'll zoom in. Thank you.
Hello, all. My name is Martasia James, and I'm here with the Echo Heights Stop 6 Environmental Coalition. And the Tuesday before last, I spoke on our infrastructure within our neighborhoods, and I do appreciate the necessary people reaching out to try to schedule tours so that they can see the infrastructure that we talked about previously. However, the emails that I have received have stated that we want to put more signs acknowledging trucks that they aren't supposed to come down certain ways, but there are already signs there, so I'm trying to figure out what is something else that we can do to prevent trucks from coming down the areas. Then also, right here where it says EHSS is where the Echo Heights Stop 6 community is predominantly, and behind it is the Arlington Lake. I probably should have wrote in a brighter color, but these are the connecting interstates that's near us. But also there's Saginaw, there's Hearst, there's these other communities behind it within the North Richland Hills area and South Lake that also have connections with other intersections for freeways and whatnot, to where we don't necessarily see trucking companies or more industrial companies or factoring companies within those areas of those communities, but we also see the connection that they have with the freeways and whatnot, that the same area which we stay in have those connections, in which we still see the trucking companies, we still see more industrial companies becoming more popular within our area, and yes, still our infrastructure being a concern. Since we've been having the Village Creek Bridge being constructed on, we've been having more problems at the Miller and Miller and Wilbarger's intersection. Under that bridge, the lights are too quick. We built up with traffic that's right there. Coming out the Magical Moments daycare is a problem, and having be able to go through under that bridge. Also, when you come down Wilbarger going to Cary, I believe it is, or when you take the back roads on Cary to go under the bridge onto Wilbarger, we have so many potholes. And yes, we have seen some people try to come over and cover it up, but covering up isn't fixing the situation, and it isn't bringing a solution. It's giving us a temporary fix, which we will later have to visit again when we can go ahead and just fix it the first time versus revisiting it again and us coming down here and restating the same things again. Also, I wanted to bring a light to the situation of our street lights and whatnot that we don't have in our area, but yet we're still having trucking companies coming through our area. And when there are issues with our lightings, as far as like the lighting, what is it called? The lining for the lights being on the ground, or we're having, just as Highland Hills show, cars within the neighborhoods just posted up and whatnot. If we could please get something done with that today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. James. Our next speaker is Wesley Kirk, followed by David Martinez.
Hi, my name is Wesley Kirk. From the moment that I learned about the 1300 Gendy Task Force, I was concerned about how much the community would be able to give feedback about the fate of the Community Arts Center. Prior to the only task force meeting for public comment, very little was known or publicly available about what the task force had discussed, where the priorities were, or what feedback in particular they were hoping to hear from the community. At that meeting, over 300 people showed up and spoke passionately for hours about the importance of that building and everything that happens within it. There were no other opportunities for community input before the task force submitted their recommendation, and the city's website had no updates about the following task force meetings. I only knew what was happening because I took time off work to attend the meetings in person. My concerns were proven valid after the October 11th meeting where Garfield and Goldenrod presented their proposals for redeveloping the Community Arts Center, and people would only have a mere 5 days to submit feedback. The meeting was not being live streamed, so the hundreds, if not thousands of people who wanted to be at that meeting but couldn't had no way of watching. It took more than 24 hours for the city to finally upload the video where people could see the proposals for themselves. At the meeting, everyone received complicated instructions for how to submit feedback, and despite me asking multiple city employees multiple questions to clarify the process, no one was quite clear. Ultimately, I discovered that the process that the city's public engagement department had set up was that you were to go to the city's website, find and download a specific PDF, edit the PDF file with your feedback, attach that in an email with a certain email address and a very specific subject line, and if any part of that process wasn't done perfectly, your voice would not be heard. That's insanity. You might as well have asked people to send a fax or go through Pony Express. I spent a whole day emailing city staff, particularly Michelle Good, urgently trying to fix the feedback process, making it easier to find and share and simpler to submit so that it could actually be accessible and reach all the people it needed to so that the city and developers would receive the feedback they desperately needed to hear. If this is how our public engagement department handles something they knew was coming months in advance, would have a lot of eyes on, and would need to be handled delicately, I find it deeply concerning how smaller and more everyday feedback opportunities are handled. It feels like it's getting harder and harder to have your voice heard by the city, by city council, by city employees, which is only leading to further tensions and difficulties. Fernando Costa said that this was one of the most robust feedback opportunities the city's offered. Only 5 days of feedback is something to be embarrassed about, not brag about. I urge you to look into how the city handles public engagement and ask, is it accessible? How do we provide more context for people? How do we hear from more people? How do we improve the quality of our feedback? How do we do better? Thank you.
Thank you, Wesley. Our next speaker is David Martinez, followed by Tina James.
Good evening, Council, City of Fort Worth. I'm David Martinez. I'm the Vice President of Carter Park Neighborhood Association. Before I start, this is the second time I ever spoke after that guy, and that guy always says the same thing I'm going to say. But ditto whatever he said. All the art stuff is necessary because our community needs art in our community to deal with the trauma that they go through, and also our children are better off for it. Now let me start on the Carter Park Neighborhood Association business. We recently we expanded our boundaries over to in Carter Park. We have the Ezequiel Vasquez, which is a relative of mine. Park is now in our boundaries, and we just found that out yesterday. So we're working forward to working with the community, with the city, the Parks Department, and everything. They've already contacted me already, so we're looking forward to that development in Carter Park. And thank you, Councilwoman Beck, for the $5 million that you put to the community. That is going a long way, and it's going to be the beginning of development in the South Side, hopefully. We're going to have a meeting, and we're going to discuss with the community how we're going to move forward. I have my ideas. I am open to senior citizen development and housing instead of those motels on I-35 and District 9. The Cohen Place is a good example, but if there's another way we can get that. We also have the Tuskegee Airmen State Veterans Facility. I know Rosemont didn't want it, but we do. We love it. We love our veterans. I appreciate that. And then I would also like, if anybody has any artwork or ideas for putting artwork there, contact me, let me know. And a general request for anybody, nonprofits, anybody who has any resources that we could use to build up the Southside Little League, and have something done there, because we're gonna need, we don't have no uniforms. We don't even have kids to participate. So we're gonna need new uniforms, we're gonna need everything. And I was told 18 months is pretty much we're looking at for the development of the park and the Patrick Zimmeriepa baseball complex, which is gonna be beautiful, and would like to expand and keep it going. So probably with some HUD money. If y'all have any HUD money y'all wanna dish out, that would be great. And thank you, God bless.
Thank you, David. Our next speaker is Tina James, followed by Waleed Adelhamid.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to see these smiling faces today. I'm not causing here to cause any havoc. I want to first of all say thank you, Council Martinez, for working with us and removing the 18-wheeler companies that was trying to get on the corner of 287 and Village Creek behind the Eugene McCray Center. We truly appreciate you taking the time to work with us and hearing our problems. Also, I want to also say thank you to Mayor Parker. It's been a couple of months, but that was an event that was over at the Old Theater on Camboy Street. I thank you so much for how you came to rescue for the southeast part of Fort Worth, and hearing and telling them what we needed as it relates to education and changing some things for our students. Also, I want to say thank you to Councilman Bivens. I want to tell her thank you for all the things that she's done in the Stop Six area and in the community as well. I know normally I come here whining and fussing and yelling at people, but today I want to tell you thank you. And I know y'all don't get enough kudos or respect and thank yous for the things that y'all do. We respect you as city officials, elected officials, as well as humans. And sometimes we come to y'all in a rough way, but we on the other side, we would really like y'all to just kind of listen to us a little bit more when we're asking for help. Some of us gets a little frustrated when we're pushing because we're frustrated for constantly repeating the same things. It's not an attack on y'all personally. It's not. It's an attack basically on your position that you're sitting in, but not as a person and a human. Chris Nettles, I also want to apologize to you. I think you thought I told you to kiss my tail, which I didn't. I was messing with you, but I just want to apologize to you for that. And I want to tell you thank you all for pushing and taking care, but we still don't want those 18-wheelers over in the Echo Heights area. We don't want any more industrial companies and or different industrial companies coming over. We appreciate the bridge almost being completed. And the other thing that I want to say, those potholes are ridiculous over there. I just had a flat the other day, so who do I pass that bill to? I'm just looking. Anybody? No? Well, and then the other thing is that's on Hillside, Eastover, we still don't have any lights. So at y'all's leisure, if y'all could take the time to come over through their area at nighttime and kind of look up at the streets, we really don't have any lights, and we really would appreciate if someone would push harder for us to get some lights, because we do have children over there playing, and in the middle of the night, well, not in the middle of the night, but, you know, of course it gets dark about 6:30. These children can't play outside anymore because the traffic can't see them, the cars can't see them. Thank you for your time, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Tina. Our next speaker is Mr., he's going to correct me, I hope, when you get to the microphone, please. Abdelhamid, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I greet you with the greetings of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. Dear Fort Worth City Council members, it's time to wake up. You are standing on the wrong side of history, and time will surely tell the truth. I'm not here to tell you more statistics that have already been presented to you time and time again. So let me go ahead and remind you that your silence is complicit with genocide, whether you deny it or not. There are numerous unbiased, trusted sources that have reported clear signs of genocide, and it won't take you more than a few minutes to find evidence of injustices that are occurring in Gaza. This country has been built on racism towards all minorities. It has enabled systematic oppression and violence time and time again. It was built upon taking people out of its land, and the same way Israel has been taking the land from its people. I generally don't understand the lack of empathy for your own community members. Is it because we stand for something you don't understand? Or are you a byproduct of a lifetime of being desensitized? Is it because you have been silenced and asked to comply? Or is it because you are unable to sympathize with those who do not look like you, nor come from where you come from? Every day, I open my phone knowing that I will see my people being brutally killed and murdered by the IDF. I ask you to take a short moment and imagine. It was your home, your country, your city. Think of your neighbors, think of your family, their names and their faces. Imagine that every day you are forced to see their brutal deaths in form of executions, bombings, or starvation. Can you even imagine your entire neighborhood being bombed to nothing but gravel? Can you imagine seeing babies, your babies, being bombed to shreds? Would you not want to defend that? Can you please imagine? Imagine that it was you, and the only thing you could do was stand here at a city council meeting begging those who have more power to say something to help. I, as a Muslim Palestinian American, standing before you, call for peace. We aren't rioting, we aren't using foul language. We are simply pleading and begging for Israel not to be held above the law. Why do you refuse to listen to us or accommodate us? I say this to plead with you as the son of Palestinians. I could have been there, voiceless and helpless. The hate has reached us as far as it has affected our own community members here locally, among other U.S. citizen casualties. I beg of you to educate yourself, to be confident in the decision that guides you to help the innocent Palestinians for a permanent ceasefire. I would like to also invite all of you on March 2nd to an open house to come and learn and be more educated about your own community members here in DFW area. There are Muslim brothers, Arab members, Black African-American Muslims that live in your community that are also affected by this. This is not a race issue.
Thank you,
This
sir.
is not.
Our next
Thank you.
speaker is Ian Layden, followed by Muhammad Farouk.
Mr. Layden?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Ian Layden, and I reside in District 7. I speak this evening to express my concern and great shame regarding this city and its inability to reckon with the genocide currently being committed abroad against the Palestinian people. I'm ashamed to be a member of a community, your community, that has continued to watch a genocide unfold over 137 days with no actions taken. To be a part of a culture that teaches its children that murder is a crime, a sin even, and then turns around and continues to aid and be complicit in the murder of Palestinians, a large majority of them children who will never get to know what life could be like. I am ashamed that after ample time provided and plenty of opportunity, our city and its leadership have been unable to do the bare minimum, to join the chorus of other U.S. cities to demand that our federal government do everything in its power to achieve an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, Rafah, and the surrounding areas where this genocide is operating. It is shameful that after everything we know and see daily, that Fort Worth government has chosen to not condone this genocide and stand with those that it is being enacted upon, especially today with our nation being the sole veto and in another UN resolution seeking an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. I myself am an Ashkenazi Jewish person, and I never got to know a large part of my family due to the Holocaust. I now watch as people lose their families every single day that we do not act and demand this killing stop. I have not been the first to ask you this even tonight, and I sadly will likely not be the last in the coming weeks and or months. And for that shame is yours. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Muhammad Farouk.
Dear council members and Mayor, I greet you with the best of the greetings. Peace be upon everybody present here. I cherish the fact, I'm sure everybody here would too, share with me the feeling that we live in a democracy. By definition of which governance by the people, of the people, for the people. For that reason, many of us have come here and spoken to you for a matter that concerns us at home here in Fort Worth, and obviously for our loved ones that are abroad. And when I thought about, a lot of people again have come here and spoken better than me, is that this is a one-way monologue. In democracy, I guess if it works best if you have a dialogue. To that end, Brother Walid here did invite you to an open house, and I'll pass these out. There's a QR code on it too for RSVPing, again on March 2nd. This is to break this ice between us. We have reached out to all of you to at least have a dialogue about this issue. Again, the reason for being this is a Fort Worth issue. We are a global world. We do not anymore live in silos. Anything that happens across the world, obviously with our taxpayer money, it concerns us, which is the reason I believe that, again, a response from any one of the council members or us to at least meet and get to know each other on the levels that concern us, mainly, obviously, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, anti-Muslim feelings, and anti-Palestinian, anti-Arab, and last but not least, obviously the most important that has gotten us to this point is calling out for really a ceasefire. This is new to all of you, I get it, but honestly, this is new to me, this is new to us. I wasn't born in Texas, but the bumper sticker fits just right for me, that I got here as fast as I could. I've been here 15 years and I love it. I think this is a great community. I think it has a lot to offer, but at the same time, I think we've been ignored to some degree. And I really appreciate if you guys are able to make it or respond to us. Let's have that dialogue. And honestly, I had this that we passed out last time, but it's really premature. This is a ceasefire proposal that other cities have also passed. But honestly, it's just not worth passing this out right now. We did that last time too. So I'd appreciate your time in responding to us and really being our voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Faryal Tayeb, followed by Arsalan Jaffrey.
Good evening, Council. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys tonight. And as you have already heard and mentioned, we are here to represent the people of Gaza who need your help. I remember coming in January, Mayor Maddie Parker, you did tell me you did not see it likely that we would pass a proclamation for a ceasefire. However, the controversy is already here. You have already entered it back in October. Now, we are not asking for your blind siding with us. We're simply asking for you to level with us. When we came 2 weeks ago, we heard from the office of Councilman Williams to Olivia Heredia, who came and spoke to you. Since then, we have not heard from him again. Another constituent reached out to both Councilman Nettles and Councilman Williams, saying, please be more responsive. We need to talk to you about this. We still have heard nothing from you guys. We are asking for your time, which we have a right to as our elected officials. We need to feel heard. I've heard a lot of your respected constituents speak tonight, and what they say is pretty much the same. Pay attention to us. We are asking what we want of you. Please consider joining the open house. Let us speak to you one-on-one in a neutral environment. Let us discuss how we can equally destroy anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in our community. For that's why you entered in the beginning. You want peace for all your constituents. You want the hate crimes to go down. And that's what we want as well. We want peace for everyone. And we simply ask that you give us the time and give us the floor. We appreciate it, and please do respond to the invitation to the open house. Thank you.
Is Mr. Jaffrey, followed by Ranuk Alam.
Good evening. So on October 17th, this council made a proclamation. Whereas the state of Israel is an important ally to the United States and a friend of the city of Fort Worth. Now, it is day 137 of the live streaming of the genocide that is being perpetrated by the friend of the city. As the saying goes, friends don't let friends drink and drive. That's normal. Friends let friends commit genocide? That's not normal. So far, 5% of the population of Gaza has either been killed, murdered, or maimed. 25% of the population is in active starvation, dying. This man-made famine is a collective punishment punctuated with the raves held by the friends of these cities to block the aid trucks that could provide sustaining aid, sustaining life. That's not normal. Shooting children as they cross the street with white flags, that's not normal. Shelling ambulances and murdering the first responders as they go to rescue a 6-year-old girl who is trapped by a tank that ends up killing her, that's not normal. If the US Army decides to set up a base in the new Texas A&M building that is being built here in Fort Worth, and after 3 weeks of using it as a detention center, decides that the way that it leaves is by obliterating it, we would be outraged. But at this point, we think it's normal for this to occur to the Ursa University in Gaza. The rate of murder of children per day at this point is greater or equal to Auschwitz. That's not normal, that's an outrage. Why are we normalizing genocide and ethnic cleansing? Why are we normalizing what Mike makes right mentality? Why are we normalizing that this is a war and war has no rules? When did we decide that it's okay to hand our friends the keys when they are drunk with rage? At what point do we realize that we are enablers and not friends? I'm asking this council that to act in the way that it did whenever it spoke up against the pogroms that happened in Russia. I'm asking this council not to be the America that hid and denied the Holocaust. I'm asking for a ceasefire for which would be providing the greatest preservation of life. I'm asking this council to be a friend.
Our next speaker is Mr. Alam.
Good evening, council members. It should be pretty obvious what I'm here for today. February 11th, Super Bowl Sunday, an event that millions of Americans were gearing up for weeks, and an event that none of my community could care less about. At the very moment of kickoff, Israel began their most brutal campaign of carpet bombing on the last piece of land left in Gaza. Rafah currently houses over 1.5 million displaced Palestinians and is the southernmost point of Gaza. It is an area smaller than the DFW airport, making it the most densely populated place in the entire world. 16,000 is a very large number, but your reaction will be quite different for what that number signifies. If you lost $16,000, you'd probably be concerned and try to track it down because it's your money. If you lost 16,000 pens, you probably wouldn't think twice about it. If you heard there were 16,000 Palestinian babies slaughtered by the state of Israel, your reaction would probably be about the same, losing an object like a pen, sadly. And it might not even cross your mind when the meeting is over. But if I were to tell you 16,000 white American babies were slaughtered, I'm sure you would raise hell to avenge those babies. There are still thousands unaccounted for in Palestine. Imagine if it was your child killed in an airstrike by a missile paid for and made by the United States. This is not just a problem for the Middle East. This is a Texas problem. This is a Fort Worth problem. Since 1994, Texas has invested in Israeli bonds yearly and currently holds over $140 million in Israeli bonds. Fort Worth is also home to defense systems like Elbit Systems and BAE Systems, two of the companies sending the most missiles, drones, and military equipment to Israel. Not only are we directly funding the genocide of Palestine, but we're supplying ammunition for this genocide too, and we also have the power to stop it. As of now, 49 cities in the United States have passed the resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza, and it's well past time that Fort Worth join those 49 cities. You may be annoyed at us coming up here continuously, but I'm not. We're not. We are persistent and we are resilient, and we will continue to come up here until Palestine is free. If you really want us to stop coming, then you should listen to your constituents for once and pass a ceasefire resolution. Because I can tell you, as your constituent, we will not remember your name on the ballot if you do not. Millions of lives are currently hanging in the balance, and we are at a critical moment in history. If you were to ask yourselves, what would I have done during the Holocaust? Your decision right now is a clear indication of what it would be then. The only difference between the genocide of Gaza today and the Holocaust is that we still have time to put an end to this. You have the power to put an end to this genocide. The only question is whether you care more about the value of human life or your paycheck. Thank you.
Council, that's the conclusion of our speakers. Tonight, we close the meeting in honor of Bobby Wygant, who passed away on February 18th at the age of 97. Bobby was born on November 22nd, 1926 in Lafayette, Illinois. After receiving her degree in broadcasting and psychology from Purdue University, she did the one thing she always wanted to do. She moved to Texas. Upon arriving in Fort Worth in 1948, Bobby joined NBC5, formerly known as WBAP TV, 2 weeks before the station went on air. She started behind the scenes, hosted game shows and commercials, and eventually became the first woman in the Southwest to host a general interest television talk show. Bobby went on to be an arts and entertainment reporter, connecting with authors and other newsmakers, and befriending the stars of Hollywood. For as long as there had been an NBC5 in North Texas, there was Bobby Wygant. Her exceptional career in entertainment reporting not only made her a beloved figure in our community, but also a cherished treasure with a wealth of knowledge and experience. She leaves behind an incredible 70-year career and an indelible mark in the industry. We send our deepest condolences and thoughts to Bobby's family and friends during this difficult time. Thank you, Council, and meeting is adjourned.